So today we're going to discuss about retail checkout efficiency through smart terminals, and I have a very esteemed set of panelists here, all of whom have their own experiences on the retail side. POS terminals have been around for the last 40 years now, and POS terminals started as very bulky, standalone countertop machines, which in those days were connected to the phone lines. And over a period of time, as technology has advanced, the terminals have also become very smarter. So today the terminals that we see are standalone, very intelligent, cloud-connected devices which have multiple applications working together, and they now provide a bunch of functionalities and features to retailers to drive operational efficiency. There's also a seamless experience that they provide to the customer, and they're also now much more secure. Plus, they're open to multiple mediums of payment. So in this digital era, I think this is one very big innovation that has happened. If you look at the market of the POS terminals globally, it's around $100 billion, and within that, mobile POS is an area where there is now a very large scale of adoption. Within India, if you look at the RBI data, we have some 8 million POS machines, and this figure actually post the second COVID spell was around 5 million. So clearly retailers have come back, offline retailers have come back with a vengeance, and this market is slated to grow much faster going forward as well. There's also a lot of innovation happening in this industry. So today you have retailers who have now started self-checkout for customers. So a lot of you would have seen Decathlon stores, and there you can actually do your own checkout. You don't really need anyone in the counter to help you with the billing. Now you also have someone like a Samsung which has launched biometric-based authentication, which means that you don't have to put in a PIN code. Then there are a lot of retailers today who have micro POS machines, mobile POS machines. So there is actually no need to spend a lot of money on keeping separate space for a counter. Every salesperson can actually just do your billing and help you save time and avoid queues. So with this thought, I'll just open up the panel to my esteemed guests. So I'll start my first question with Mr. Yogeshwar Sharma, who's the CEO of Select City. All of us would have heard of Select City. It's one of the most prominent urban consumption centers in the country with over 200 retailers. So, sir, the question for you is, the retail industry has seen a significant shift towards smart payment terminals. Could you shed some light on the factors driving this traction and how it has improved the overall retail checkout experience?
Hello. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone? Yeah, good. So I have seen a huge change. I have been part of this shopping center, Select City Walk, from its inception, and I have seen a huge sea change in the way the billing is happening in the mall, at the outlets, various outlets. And with coming in of international brands, we could see that there is a better way of doing it. But now there is a huge change coming for all the brands. And as a mall, we have to really collect the sales figures of all the retailers to get to the revenue share. And it used to be such a difficult task that we always suffered on that account, always doubting that the sales reported are correct or not correct. And they themselves had their own issues so much. There was always a challenge between the billing, the CRM, and the warehouse management and their manufacturing. But over a period of time now, especially after this COVID situation, the digital payments have gone so high. Earlier, ratio was 65-35, 65 cash and 35 digital. And now it is like 45 cash and 55 digital. And if we forget this blip, which is like the highest value currency note is undergoing at the moment till September, that's a blip. But eventually, I feel that digital payments have taken up so much of space in our center that cash transactions have reduced very significantly. And the experience, which is the point here, that the experience of checkout experience has improved so much, the timing, and has really reduced hugely. So I'm very excited. It has become very seamless. It is becoming seamless. And over a period of 2-3 more years, I feel it will be a very good way of checking out.
Very interesting. Vishal, you run a very interesting brand which has multiple SKUs, and you're also now expanding all across the country. What has your experience been on the smart payment terminals when you compare them to a window-based device? And are you seeing it improve operational efficiency for your stores?
Hi, thanks, Samir. I really feel these smart terminals, in fact, if you go back where we started from, पहले क्या होता था, you used to write bill, वो cash memos बनते थे. We have graduated from there to those EDC machines to these smart terminals. I think the first and the foremost area which I feel is for the user who is actually using it. If I talk from the operational point of view. Generally, if you see in a store, you will have 10, 12 past people working. So it becomes very easy for them to use those. The UI is such that anybody can use it. Even if you give it to a 5th class or 10th class, he can easily use it. First, I think that is the foremost for me. If you ask me, that's the foremost. Second, I think we space a lot on capex. If you have a Windows terminal, you have to have a system, you have a different printer, then a UPS. You save a lot on that. Third is the space. You can now today, though we have not moved, we are just in the process of moving. What I see is that I can use that space to put more merchandise on the store, on the shelves, than putting that bulky system and everything. I think that is one area which I really feel can save. And lastly, I think, not lastly, today the consumer is such that he has multiple modes of payment. He has a choice. He wants to use maybe a Google Pay or a card. These smart terminals has multiple payment modes today. He wants to tap and pay. It is available today. Lastly, I think consumer experience is the time to check out is decreasing. I think where we see that we have quick commerce delivering in 10 minutes. If you take 2 minutes to process a order at the POS, the consumer is irritated. He does not want that today. So I think these smart terminals play a vital role there too. So I think smart terminals and further, if I go further down, I believe I think the kind of innovations being done on smart terminals today, tomorrow I may be able to manage my inventory with IoTs. I may be able to do a lot more through these smart terminals, which today I may be using at my back end. Another thing which I feel is maybe I can run my payroll through it tomorrow. I think you just mentioned the security feature with the biometric coming in. I think the security will also play a vital role here for a brand which is left up terminal at the system at the store. I think I was billing for him, and tomorrow I do anything, he will be caught. So if biometric starts working, I think it will help the brands.
What about inventory? Given that you have a large assortment, does a smart terminal help you in inventory management?
As I said, we have not moved on a smart terminal. We have started evaluating it because I see a lot of features which are there and a lot of problem areas which I hold today. These smart terminals are going to clear them out or cut them out.
So I think, Siddhant, I have the same question for you. You're an online brand which is now moving offline, and for you, I think it's very important that your customer who's so used to a seamless online experience, how do you replicate that experience offline? So how are you using smart terminals to kind of build that experience? And in your assessment of a smart POS machine, what are the key features that you always look for?
See, coming from an e-commerce background, we know one thing for a fact. There have been multiple surveys to prove it that in a competitive space like ours today, the biggest way to for a brand to be successful is to convert a customer that you get, right? And there have been surveys which show that just by making your checkout process increases your conversion rate by about 25 to 30% without changing the product, without changing the discount, just by a seamless checkout process. That's because in a competitive world, consumers don't have the time. They want, like somebody said, 10-minute delivery, right? So it has completely changed the gamut. So similarly for checkout experience is, that's what customers or consumers are looking for in the e-commerce space as well as the offline space. Like to cite an example, they say that the Kirana stores, every local Kirana stores has the highest repeat rate and the highest conversion rate. Why? Because they have the most seamless checkout, which is called the khata. They come in, they have a khata. Just imagine bringing that to the retail world. And a lot of partners we've seen have started doing that in the e-commerce. We have buy now, pay later as an option on our website. And now we're talking to people to how do we get that offline for a more seamless experience? Because people want to just pick up their product or through the terminal, through the POS, they just fill in some details, just their name, email address, and they should be able to kind of just walk out of the store like a khata used to happen, right? So we feel that in an era where people don't have time, the experience has to be completely frictionless. And hence so many modes of payment. Like today, we are not living in those days where we can say to the customer at the POS that we don't accept an Amex or we don't accept UPI, right? So if you have to have a smart terminal to make sure that every possible mode of payment is accepted at the store or in your e-commerce website as well. So yes, that's what our thought is in terms of how seamless the checkout experience has to be for a brand.
And what about security? How important is that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the most important thing. And in fact, I think we are one of the only countries where the security levels are much better as compared to other. Earlier in the early days of a one-time password, we used to call it a friction. But now, today, that's actually become a necessity. If we don't see that OTP thing coming in, we'll feel that something is going wrong. Like something happened to me. So I was experimenting this new payment gateway where they didn't really have to pay. I went to add to cart and then I just said buy now, pay later. It did not ask me for an OTP. I was like, I was shocked. I am actually used to that friction so much. But I think that all payment gateways now are pretty secure and it's very well governed centrally. So by the RBI laws and also that I think security is pretty taken care of by all our partners.
So, Atul, on the security bit, Razorpay has been at the forefront of all payment innovation in this country. What security features do smart payment terminals offer compared to the legacy systems? And how do these terminals help in ensuring secure transactions and protecting customer data, which is so important for the retailer?
Yeah. Before I answer this, I just want to take a show of hands of when all of us go shopping, how many of us want our checkout to be fast? Speed कितनों को चाहिए? सबको चाहिए, right? Smooth experience? सबको चाहिए. And security, of course, right? So, as human beings, we are very greedy. We want everything. We want it to be fast, smooth, and secure also. And when Vishal spoke about, why do I need a separate CPU and a separate printer for the machines? So Smart POS actually does away with all that. So there's Android and even iOS, for that matter, gives you an inbuilt security layer. They have a separate CPU, separate servers where your payment data resides. So it won't mix up with your normal applications. And you can also install predefined applications only on that machine. I mean, you can't install games and start playing games on those Smart POS. But you can install predefined application. It is ultra secure, and what he also spoke about, India fintech being at the top level security across the globe. So we are the safest and the most secure in the globe. And what we are doing today is, at Razorpay also what we are doing is we are innovating a lot in this. So our Smart POS terminals are at the highest level of security. So you can rest assured that your data for the merchants is ultra secure. It's residing in a separate CPU, as I told you, and nobody has access to that data. And even when we do a three-way reconciliation in terms of billing, in terms of payment, and in terms of settlement, that is also taken care by ultra secure layers. So security is the last thing you need to worry about.
Excellent. I think let's just now move on from security to another very important element of Smart POS machines, which is that they now come embedded with a lot of financing solutions, right? Whether it's EMIs or buy now, pay later. So Siddhant, what is your expectation from these kind of features in the smart terminal, and how lucrative or how important are they for your business?
I think they work beautifully. They blend beautifully, and it's actually not just about consumers not wanting to pay right now and wanting to pay later. It's actually that's not the only reason. Speed is definitely a big factor. Where, for example, if I go to a select city walk tomorrow, and I want to shop from 5 stores, and in a busy space, like I remember standing in queues of Zara, like there are like 10 people queues, right? So there have been times where I actually walk out of the store because I don't have the patience to do that. Just imagine if, as now we are progressing, there could be a way where, I could just shop all around the mall and be able to pay all together, maybe at the end of my visit to the mall, or maybe once I come back home, right? So I mean, definitely these things really matter. For example, EMI as well. So today, our corporate culture is massively increasing. Employment rates are getting better, and there is a full cycle. We've seen those trends on our website as well, where as soon as the salaries are remitted around the first week, suddenly the conversion rates start improving, and the EMI transactions are mostly happening in the middle to the end months of the month, end times of the month, because people don't have the patience. If they want something, they don't want their salaries anymore. Just imagine if we didn't have the feature, so every time to actually fulfill your requirements or needs at home, you would actually have to wait for the whole month and then make your purchase, which is all changing now. A young consumer wants whatever they want at that time, want it easily, and want it completely frictionless. So that's why these payment options like buy now, pay later, EMI are making a huge difference, and we're already seeing charts on the trend is actually on the growing side for all these numbers. And as people are getting more and more educated about these services and how they don't have a negative impact on their financials or their personal CIBIL, etc., they're increasingly using those kind of services.
Excellent. So it's a very large innovation that has happened in the payments industry, I think, BNPL. And obviously there's a lot of negative that has also flown through it, but I think with proper diligence and proper credit appraisal, BNPL is actually a very relevant tool, at least from the Indian context. Yogeshwarji, you have, in your mall, a lot of international retailers have actually come and built their India presence starting from your mall. And I'm sure you have seen the kind of smart terminals and the kind of systems that they bring into India. What is the distinction between what these international retailers are following versus some of the national retailers? And do you see the national retailers shift or change in their lookout?
Yeah. So, I mean, it has been a great learning curve over the last 10 years. The most important aspect I have noticed is the customization. There is no one product available off the shelf which fulfills all the needs of a retailer. Whereas in case of international brands, they came from international backgrounds and they had multiple locations. So they had gone through that cycle in the past. I mean, they knew how to integrate the CRM with the POS, with the warehouse and the merchandise. So there was a sequencing was in place. Whereas Indian retailers were still struggling. There was a different software for CRM, there was a different POS software, there was a different accounting, and the reconciliation issues were always there. So, but now I can say with a lot of pride that Indian retailers are also at the similar platform, and they are able to have this seamless experience of checkout. One challenge which is still pending is the CRM. CRM bit is still operating separately. And the POS is working separately. And the next big thing is, I know everybody wants to be recognized, and in retail it is very useful and effective if you know the consumer and their preferences and how they have bought in the past, and if you know them by name, it becomes success of selling becomes much faster. So integration of CRM, which is still missing with the POS, is one thing which I feel that a lot of retail, IT professionals are here. So if somebody can crack that, it will be a very useful for most of the retailers in the country.
Vishal, do you feel a similar gap in the retail systems today, that CRM is missing and loyalty programs cannot be maximized?
Yeah, I think I would want to say the current, I would not want to name the POS we are using it. We are living in 10 different worlds today. And it has to be one God. The truth has to be one. And that is the challenge that I think a lot of players like us would be facing. And yes, see, one is a POS, one is an accounting software, one is a payment software, one is the CRM, one is a loyalty partner. You need one God if you want to really perform well. And that is the current challenge we are facing, and I think we would want to address this. And I think brands like us or the retailers like us, there will be N retailers like us, and I think I would want to say it to Varun and team, it's a very big opportunity for them.
It's
If
a
they're
big
able to.
opportunity. This space is so empty at the moment, and it surprises me that why it is taking so long. You know, I mean, all of you know, I mean, IT professionals, they know their job very well. It's only just understanding our problem and solving it.
I'll tell you the solution to this. Walk out of this door, 3 steps, there's a razor pay stall. And we actually give all of these under one roof. And not only the CRM integration, we'll also give you your billing software integration. We also give you your online and offline integration into omni-channel. We also give you your payroll integration. We also give you your vendor payments, your tax payments, every money movement under one roof.
So, I mean, if you have cracked the technology, then you need to increase your marketing team.
Yeah. So in fact, that's why we are here. So with sitting with such senior people and such intelligent folks, I just want you to take 3 steps from this door and just come to the stall. Yeah, you can see the stall right from here, and my team is sitting right there. We have a solution for this. Thank you.
Great, excellent.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing. Like we started our journey with Cubus. We acquired our food court along with Everstone, and we wanted a POS, which was like the card, the payment should be made in the food court first, and then the same card should be available everywhere. And it took us 2 months to crack that, but this system has worked so well. And it has we have replicated that software in many places. So there's a huge gap in between the demand of the consumer, retailer, and the IT professionals. So somebody has to come in and just fill the gap.
That single card that you could use. But now I've seen a lot of food courts which allow you to only pay by credit card or pay by UPI, so they can track digital transactions.
That's
there's
another
no cash.
issue because most of the food courts are on revenue share, and if we allow the counters to accept the cash.
No, so they don't accept cash. So what I'm saying is that they will only allow you to pay either UPI or credit card,
Yeah.
but no cash.
Yeah.
So that is like
That's a very good solution.
that is also a solution. That can work.
It adds to the convenience of the consumer. But the reconciliation issue comes because some payments have come through this way, that way, or some payments have come initially at the food court card.
Right.
So reconciliation becomes a challenge, but that's part of life, I think.
So I think reconciliation again a very important topic, and that's something which I would like both Siddhant and Vishal. Do you guys face challenges on reconciliation? And then Atul, maybe you can talk about how are you solving from the whole cycle of billing to payments to settlement.
I think again it's so you get payments. See, we are an online player as well, so we get payments from 10 different places. To reconcile that, it is a tough job, and at the end, you may not even be able to reconcile every last paisa there. I think again, as I said, there are huge gaps today in the industry, and I think the world is open for you guys to find the right
This
solution.
is both a challenge in online as well as offline.
Yes, it is. See, even I'll tell you, we as a player, as an offline retailer, we were taking money through PhonePe, from Google Pay, from Paytm.
For example, if your mall wants to keep 2% cut out of every payment I'm just hypothetical situation, 1%, whatever. So every payment that goes, I go and buy a shoe for say 10,000 rupees. You want 100 rupees out of that. My terminal will settle 9900 to a retailer, 100 rupees to you. In the real time. And you can also decide who pays the charges. I can even take the charges 1% from you, 99% from the retailer. So this is already being done. In fact, innovation is moving faster than what you think. Only last week I was watching a documentary in which it said iris-based shopping. You go into a shop, you look at something, blink twice, that thing enters your checkout, you pay with your on the biometric, and that's in your cart. That's the future. In fact, that's what people are actually thinking about. That you go into a... Yeah, we have to blink carefully. You should not blink at something else कि वो बाद में आ गया और पैसे भी चले गए.
I completely agree. I think reconciliation, I think, is problem for most businesses. and everybody is actually trying to solve them in their own ways, because actually solving one form of reconciliation, because there are so many different ways that people are selling these days. It's not just limited to a store or online. Then there are multi-brand outlets, and then there are phone call orders. So like, you're actually accepting payments through so many different players and so many different avenues, that to have the reconciliation done under one roof, I think nobody has been able to solve it. I think there are startups who are making an effort towards particular industries like, say, FMCG or fashion and all those things, and they are trying to solve it. But I think it's mostly handled manually within your Excel teams, etc. There are certain ways to reconcile one particular aspect of the business, but to completely, bring everything together, I don't think it's still those options are available. And I think, but people are working on those, and maybe in times to come, and as the industries are growing, it's going to get better. So,
Right. Atul, one last question. In fact, I have more questions. A lot of retailers in India are very small, right? The Kirana stores who are basically family run and very efficient actually. Do you also have smart solutions for them on the retail payment side?
Yeah, so in fact, what we do is we can also set up an online payment portal for them without them using technology. We have something called payment pages where they can set up a payment page. They can do a payment link also. In fact, we use this a lot during COVID that was happening. If somebody comes to your place, delivers grocery outside, you want to do a touchless payment, that person can send you a payment link, you pay, and the payment gets settled. And that person receives a notification. So what I'm saying is, all these parties under one roof, this is what we do even today. And I would love to talk to the folks here, any solution that you need. And another thing is that what we provide is that we'll also build something for you if there's something that, because we have the underlying infra already. If you want another wrapper around it, we'll build it for you.
Sure. Very nice. One last question actually, and this is for Vishal and Siddhant. You guys have now scaled up your businesses, you're going to the next level. What advice would you give to retailers who are looking to implement a smart point of sale system?
I think these smart terminals are the way to go forward, I think, and everybody should start exploring these opportunities. As I said initially, you save a lot of space to display more merchandise, and I think, as he was saying, he has a better sales per square feet, and I think at the end, what do you want? Better revenues and better customer service. So I think the smaller retailers should start exploring these opportunities.
I personally think that every business is different, and there are own ways to convert those customers in every business. But I think one thing that is common across all businesses is that something that we all can solve, and it's something to make it a completely frictionless experience for the customer. We are very bullish on how frictionless experience improves conversion. We know in we live in competitive times where a similar kind of products in a mall is being sold by 10 different brands, right? And the worst and the last thing that you want is customer walking into your store, liking the product, picking it up, but just because you don't have their preferred mode of payment, they're walking out. So we feel that I think frictionless payment is something that is a must for every business out there. And we've seen the trends in the e-commerce side as well as the offline side, and without changing anything, the more you reduce the friction, conversions are going to be drastically better. So,
anything you want to add, sir?
I just want to say that, the seamless experience is the foremost, but unless and until the CFO gives a nod, the reconciliation issues, these softwares don't get approved. So reconciliation is the behind the scene things are equally important. Then only it gets implemented. Otherwise, CFO will not say yes, and the implementation will be an issue.
Right. Thank you so much.